another great game for us. Again, started with pitching. Mahoney, Jones, and Veach were all extremely good tonight. Defense was great behind them. And then we had the two big swings that gave us the 5 runs. So real proud of that group. They competed their ass off today, and they won the game because of it.
Mark, you mentioned the pitching, and I know that you send Jones out there for the 9th, but just how impressive was it for not only Veach to come in, but to throw 9 straight strikes, and especially against that heart of the lineup?
Yeah, some of the toughest decisions you have as a manager and as a pitching coach is when do you make the move? When do you go from a guy that's cruising to hand the ball to the closer? That's a big decision. If it doesn't work, you're the idiot. If it works, then you look like you know what you're doing. But he was cruising, and we were going to try to play it both ways. He was cruising. We're going to put him out there for the 9th. But if a guy gets on base and it looks like he's just doesn't quite have it still, then you go to your closer, and that's exactly what we did. And Veach came in and was tremendous.
What did you see from Eli tonight? He doesn't have obviously dominating stuff, but just fills the zone. What about him makes him so hard to hit? What did you see?
Well, Eli's a guy that's 92, 93 with some movement on the fastball and very good command. The ball, you notice when he throws the fastball, it's generally at the knees, either on the inside black or the outside black. And then he throws a really good slider in the mid-80s that he also locates down and away generally. And it's just he's a hard guy to square up, and he throws strikes. 1 walk in 3 innings. That's what you need. You need strike throwers that have good command and enough stuff that when they get in good counts, they can put guys away. And that's what he is.
Mark Jackson obviously had some really good moments this year, but when you look at tonight, he fought through a couple of tricky situations.
Yeah.
What were you seeing in those moments? It seemed like Will kind of did similar things last night. Is there any parallel at all? And I guess what were you seeing from Jack tonight, too?
What you get with those guys is poise, and you get guys that are competitors. They know that in the middle of a big crisis like that, when the bases get loaded or you've got runners in scoring position, the key is to kind of slow down a little bit, breathe a little bit better, and just make pitches and execute pitches. And they've pitched enough, and they're old enough now, and they're competitive enough now that they know how to do that. They know how to get out of those tough spots. And sometimes younger guys don't, and they have to work through that. Those guys are older guys that know how to manage situations.
Kind of sticking with Jack in big spots, you had Justin go out for a mound visit. I think the tying run was up in the 5th. You had Jones warming up. Kind of what made you stick with him at that moment, and then what did you see when he got the double play ball to get out of the inning?
Yeah, just it's most of that usually is gut feel. How's your guy feel? What are you seeing with your eyes? Is it the right matchup in terms of which hitter he's facing and what kind of success he's had up until then? Most of that usually is gut feel. Sometimes, Parker goes out to the mound and looks a guy in the eye before he makes his decision what we want to do. So I think we played our cards right today, and the guys really executed and did what we needed them to do.
That's basically what I wanted to ask, but I do want to follow up on Jack. You kind of challenged him last week to go a little bit deeper and to be a little bit better in those big situations. A, were you happy with that? And then B, how did Waldrop settle in later in the game after the home runs?
Yeah, so first with Jack, the great thing about when you have good relationships with your players and you really know them is kind of who can you challenge, who do you need to pat on the back. Jack's a guy because he's so competitive that every now and then you can really challenge him. And I think him getting to 91 pitches today, we'd like to see that be 6 innings, but the fact that he was able to get out to 91 will be good because it's something he can build on, hopefully the next time he pitches, and then maybe we get him to 100 and he gives us 6 or maybe even 7 with that. Waldrop, the stuff's electric. We did a good job early on the fastball. Our damage, for the most part, I think early on was off the fastball, and then he really started to feature the off-speed stuff. And once he did that, it's a dirty pitch. It's a first-round pitch, and we struggled with it a little bit, but everybody will struggle with that pitch when he's commanding it. When he gets into trouble is when he's not landing the off-speed pitches, and then he has to throw the fastball. But he started to get in a rhythm where he was throwing that pitch for strikes, and you've got to tip your cap there.
Is that pitch the splitter?
Yeah, it was the splitter. Most of the time it was the splitter.
Yeah, Coach, obviously injuries are no stranger to this time of season, but when you go out there with no McGillis, no LaCroix, no Cassis, just what does it say about the depth and talent of this group to get this series clincher?
Yeah, I'm so proud of them. Again, and you could add Hall to that because Hall, for most of the year, was our Saturday guy. And so you're dealing without four guys that are elite performers there. You've got a 16 home run guy, you've got a guy with 10 home runs in 20 games, and you've got a guy hitting 320, and you've got arguably, one of the better pitchers in the league. So the fact that we still were able to overcome all that, really proud of the guys that stepped in and played today, because we were still able to win, and we won anyway.
Mark, a couple for you. For tomorrow, do you look at Becker again, kind of keep the routine, or Hicks, somebody like that? Do you have a decision at this point?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to announce that probably either later tonight or first thing in the morning, but you could probably assume that we'll stay status quo from what we did.
And also update on Cassis.
Cassis will not play tomorrow. It's a lung issue. It's not a rib issue. It's a lung issue. The doctors are hopeful that he'll be back next week. Yeah, right. I agree.
Veach, obviously, that ninth inning was really impressive. I think he threw 7 or 8 straight changeups at one point. What makes that pitch so tough to hit for that kind of, I guess, those hitters?
Well, and I'll tell you what, I thought the key to the outing was the fact that he established his fastball 92, 93 for strikes at the knees early, because the last time he pitched, you could tell the team we were facing was just basically sitting on the changeup thinking he was going to throw it every pitch. And so the fact that he was able to establish the fastball, when you see it to the hitter in front of you when you're on deck, you're like, okay, I guess I have to respect the fastball too. And when you have to respect his fastball at 93, one, that makes the changeup better in and of itself, but it's a special pitch. It's a low spin rate. You hear all the time about high spin rates. It's an incredibly low spin rate for a pitch, and it's just the movement on it and the time it takes to get to the plate is just something hitters don't see.
Hey, Mark, you guys hung up 13 on this team yesterday. You come in, have an early lead, you sustain it. But what's your message to the guys to finish it off and sweep this series tomorrow? What are you going to be in their ear about?
Well, we just play the same baseball every day. Come out and pitch well, throw strikes, play really good defense behind pitchers, and let's score as many runs as we can with our philosophies, which is take good at-bats and be disciplined and all those things. So that message does not change. It's just we get to another chance to do it tomorrow.
Any other questions?
All right. Thank you. Ready?